Good evening, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, it was a bit of a bittersweet day today, since Jack's first football game of the season, or I guess of his high school career, and also too of his like continuous, like, you know, if he winds up going to college and playing football, he will most likely be a different, like, you know, team, like, you know, like the youth football, at least for us, like when Jack played, it was the same town and they used the same like mascot name and everything like that as well. And so again, if he winds up going to a different school, most likely again he would be something different. So I guess that's also sort of sad. Like I said, like through, you know, youth football up through high school, you know, like the continuation of that, this is his first game. You know, like I said, that this is his last season, so it's his last game today, which is so weird because honestly, I remember thinking his first freshman game, I was like, his senior year is never going to come. Like, I just remember sitting there thinking that, and that was so weird again too with the COVID season, like, you know, with the 2020, I guess, or no, was that 2021 season, where I guess it would have been, right, because they played the 2020 season. No, they didn't. They played 2019 season. What year is it? I don't know. But I guess it was the 2021 season for football. It was in 2020. But the year prior, his freshman year, I guess, would have been 2019. Then his sophomore year, was the weird year where they ended up playing the spring season, and then ended up following that with his junior year that they played the, which was last year, where they played the, what's it called? You know, his varsity year. And so then this year now is his senior year. And like I said, it was weird because we had two sort of smushed together years where you played a spring and fall season, which are so close together, and you only had sort of one season off where you didn't have a whole year off. And again, to his freshman year compared to when he played, you know, it was the fall, and then he didn't play again until the following spring, is also, like I said, really weird. So we had like a huge break and then a really short break in between. And so again, that was really weird, you know, and so his seasons were a little, like I said, off. Like, I really vaguely remember sort of that 2020 season, just because it was in spring, and it felt very much like a throwaway sort of season anyway, because at the frost-off level, it doesn't matter what they end up doing. Like, if they wind up winning any games or they don't, it doesn't, I mean, it's just sort of like bragging rights is really all you get, I guess, if you end up winning any games against any teams, or if you don't. Like, there's no real reason. I mean, it's just for the program to work up to being at varsity and, you know, being a good player for varsity. So again, it doesn't really, you know, in that group of kids or whatever, but it doesn't really matter too much about, again, the varsity, or the frost off. It matters more about the varsity, and that's where the season, you know, again, too, in the wins and losses, all that kind of stuff actually matters. So again, it was just weird, like his sophomore year sort of just seemed like it didn't, like I said, really entirely seemed like it counted. And then on top of that too, like some of his, I think there was one game, maybe two games, where he did wind up getting pulled up at from frost off to varsity. I think it was one or two games at like the end of the season, but it didn't, like, I don't even think he ended up playing, or maybe he went in for like a couple of plays at the very end of the game. But like I said, it was just like, you know, it didn't really matter either too. But that's why, again, that's, you know, like those two seasons, even last year a little bit too, because it sort of runs together because they were so close, and it wasn't like it was a whole year apart, where I'm like, oh yeah, wait, no, that was a different year. Oh yeah, you know. So like I said, it was just sort of a little weird. But anyways, I guess it's good though for Jack that it took place his sophomore year instead of his senior year or junior year even too. And again too, his freshman year where like, you know, we got to kind of take in the, you know, him being a freshman and everything. I feel like sophomore year is actually probably the perfect year for that to have happened, because it is sort of that weird in-between year where like if you're really good, you might still play up at varsity again, like for our school, just because like of numbers and stuff like that. And like I said too, by the end of the season, like there was injuries and stuff like that, so they had to sort of bring Jack up, I think, like I said, for 1 or 2 games at the very end of the season, just because they didn't have enough kids at some positions because some kids were injured. So like I said, if it was the best season for that to have happened at, where, you know, like I said, it was like that weird spring season, his sophomore year was probably the best year for that. I remember thinking like his freshman year, like, you know, his senior year is never gonna come. We're never gonna have to do the senior night, you know, sort of thing and all that kind of stuff. And like, you know, because there was 1 year in between like Matthew's senior year when he graduated, and then Jack, you know, went to school then the following year after. That was when he started high school, not the following, the year after that. So there was 1 year in between where neither of them were in high school, but my dad was coaching. That was the first year that he started coaching at the high school level, and so we were still going to, you know, most of the football games anyway. But like I said, I just like, you know, it was that sort of like after Matthew's senior year, I was like, okay, well, we still have like a whole year, you know, to wait for Jack. And then when Jack gets into school, is, you know, he'll be his freshman year, and then it'll take a really long time before he finally gets to being a senior. I was like, you know, we can still take in all of that, because I realized how quickly it went by with Matthew. Like, you know, his all of his, you know, his high school football years. And so I was like, you know, that won't happen with Jack. We still have a lot more time. And now, like I said, it's funny when you remind yourself of that, like it's going to take a long time before Jack's a senior. Like it's, you know, it's never going to happen. And now that it has, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. And this even more sad thing, I guess, a little bit, is that this coach that they finally have, I feel like is so good, and it just stinks so much that it's coming in Jack's senior year. Whereas like, again, went through some pretty difficult coaching situations since like Matthew's high school years. And so you know, well, not Matthew actually had the same coach, but Jack there was one coach that was there for that 1 year, like I said, in between, where neither Matthew or Jack were in high school. Then the last 3 years there was a different coach that had to take over because the other coach just ended up quitting. And then finally though, they actually found like this coach that's, like I said, really a great coach. And like I said, it just really stinks. But the cool thing is that like if Matthew and Jack, and you know, especially now that my dad is coaching, you know, end up staying with this, it'll be really cool to actually see. And there are still several of those kids that I did coach in youth football, that one of them was the youngest kid that I coached is a freshman. So I'm like, at least, like, you know, we'll still probably wind up going to a lot of the games and stuff like that, but like at least I know that there's a couple of those kids that I can still, you know, cheer for and still know. Everything after that, I have no clue. I don't know who a lot of those new kids are and stuff like that. And because they've all been Jack's friends and Matthew's friends and stuff like that, they've always been like, oh, we know that kid, or, you know, that kid comes, you know, like hangs out with Jack and stuff like that. And, you know, like, again, one of his friends that he's been best friends with since like, I don't think it was kindergarten, I think first grade. They've been friends since first grade, you know, are both on the football team together, both at the same, you know, both the seniors. And you know, like I said, just a lot of that, like some of those kids that, like, you know, grown up with your siblings, and so, like, you know, you just sort of know them. And like I said, it's just weird now that, like, you know, Jack's not going to be in school, Matthew's not going to be in school anymore. There'll be no more like of those kids that, like I said, I coached or any of my siblings know anymore, that are in high school, you know, like I said, where you still get to like root for them and cheer for them and stuff like that. And while we don't live in a small town, our town is kind of small. A lot of people go to football games, like, you know, I feel like that's like small town sort of thing to do, like, oh, you just go to the high school football games on a Friday night. There's a lot of people that go there that are not like in association with the high school, if that makes sense. Like they don't have kids that are in the high school, or, you know, like whatever that sort of is. But again, because my dad's still coaching, and again, Matthew he was talking about maybe wanting to do it this year, it's just he couldn't take it on because of the commitment. But like, you know, it's your alma mater and you want to see it do well too, like the football and everything like that. And that's why, like, I'm very excited, like I said, to sort of see the coach that they have there now as well. I think it's really cool. So you know, like I said, though, it's just so sad because, again, like I said, once like sort of pretty much this group of kids is done, like I don't know any more of them. Those aren't any of the kids that I coached. They're not any of the kids that were around in the youth football years, like any of that kind of stuff. Like even to some of the kids that I didn't end up coaching, I knew because they played like a level down or two, and so I did know a handful of them, but most of them, like I said, after this group, I won't know any of them anymore, and there's nobody else that I can cheer for, or, you know, just again get to see how cool it is to, like I was saying, this one kid that was a freshman when so he played on Jack's team his like I said, the first year of tackle football. And Jack was playing, I actually think Jack was playing at the right level that he should have been at, because Jack jumped around all the time. He was playing like 2 levels up. I think he played 1 year down or something like that. Or he played 2 years, I think, of flag football or something. But like I said, this one kid, he was actually supposed to be playing flag football, but his mom said that he was really aggressive. She tried to put him in soccer, and he was way too aggressive to play soccer, and so she was like, no, I don't think that he'll be good in flag football. I want him to play tackle football. And so he ended up, like I said, trying, you know, came out for the team and ended up playing on that team. And what was funny was that 2 of the kids that were actually on that team that year, like I said, most of those kids were all older than him, and like significantly older. Jack's a senior right now, and he is playing with what would have been a freshman at that youth football level. But 2 of those kids, actually, because of where their birthdays fell, they ended up playing at that level as well with Jack, that were actually graduated. So 2 of those kids were, they never even like played with, like I said, the youngest kid, because that's a freshman now, because they're already graduated and out of high school. And so like I said, there was a huge group of like kids that, like I said, were kind of playing at like a weird level that year, especially to that first year that Jack played tackle football and youth football. It was really weird because of, like I said, like the level and, like, you know, like I said, that kind of stuff. So anyways, like I said, it was just so cool because, like, he is, like my dad was saying, he's like, he's only a freshman, he's playing at varsity. He's like, and it's really a testament to, like, what the youth football program really brought to, like, you know, the football, high school football program as well, and coaching those kids and stuff like that. And that's sort of what makes you feel good as, like, a coach, because I was like, I remember coaching him. I remember being like, should I be too hard on him? Because he was, like, a little, like, you know, kindergartner really, compared to all of these like 2nd and 3rd graders and stuff like that, I think. Or maybe it was like in 1st grade, and they were like in, no, they had to have been way older than that too. He had to have been in like kindergarten or something, like I said, when he was playing. And so, because he's a freshman now, and so again, that's 3 years difference than the other kids. So yeah, they had to have been in like 3rd grade, I think, when he was like in probably kindergarten or something, or maybe they were in 4th and he was like in 1st grade. So, but again too, just like, I was always thinking like, I shouldn't be too hard on him, because, like, you know, he's such a little kid compared to like all of these older kids, but like he was still like so like dedicated, which was so cool. But like I said, once they're all gone, I don't know any more of those kids that are playing football anymore, which is, like I said, so sad that I coached them all up, and now they're all on to, you know, bigger and better things, which is cool. So, and a handful of them, well, no, let's see, I know at least 2, I think 2. One I didn't coach, he was a year older. I think the 2 of them, at least one, like I said, I know the one that I coached, he is going on to play college. I don't know if any of these kids are, but again too, for our school, that is a pretty cool thing. But like I said, I'm just like, it's definitely bittersweet today in Jack's final football game. So I will most likely have Meyer haul for you guys tomorrow. It's funny, I got all of that editing done yesterday too. I even edited yesterday's vlog yesterday night, and I was like, good, I don't have to go on my computer at all today. I completely forgot I didn't upload the ones that I edited yesterday, so probably have to do that. Have to edit today's vlog tomorrow, go to Meyer and do that shopping, but we have to do after they have film tomorrow. And then I'm trying to think, I don't think we really have anything else super planned for tomorrow. I know there's a handful of little housekeeping things that do need to be taken care of, but I didn't really end up doing too much else today. Like I said, we just ended up going to the football game, and we actually got there early enough where we watched some of the Frost-Off game, and then I think it was actually most of it. I think we got there at the first quarter, but we ended up watching most of that, and then ended up well, like I said, we stayed for the varsity game, obviously, to watch Jack. But I did snap a couple of pictures from his game, and like I said, that was, I didn't record anything or anything like that. But again, it's just like, you know, now it's just ticking down, you know, the amounts, you know, the last, you know, games of the season before it's all over for Jack, which is so sad. So anyways, guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give the gold thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.